No.
Why not?
No, they didn't hit 30 members.
I want to see you do it.
Didn't hit 30 members.
Oh, okay. I'm sad now. I thought you might do it.
30 members.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the Saints Network podcast, where you can come for your weekly dose of all things Southampton Football Club. We're here for about an hour. We're going to talk about the club in general, but more importantly, yesterday's game in the Championship against Watford. How many of you out there estimated a 1-0 win? I think some people last week did say 1-0.
There's a couple that said it in the chat, yeah.
Give yourselves a pat on the back if you got 1-0 win down, because you got that. We should do that in future every week as well. Pat yourselves on the back if you got one, if you got the right result. I think that's a new thing I'm going to start doing. Thank you so much for joining us on this fine Sunday evening. I say fine, I mean it's not. It's pissing down. It's awful out there, but at least the weekend was okay football-wise. We're going to talk about the Watford game. We're going to talk about the end of the transfer window, because obviously it shut last week on Monday after we'd finished the show on Sunday. We'll talk about a little bit about that and what's happened and our thoughts and feelings. And we'll talk about a little bit about wider Championship football, and we'll look forward to the next couple of games, which is a double whammy. It's going to be fun. Maybe, possibly, not sure. Maybe if you haven't already, please make sure you smash all those magical YouTube buttons for us. So hit the like button if you enjoy the content. Smash subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that bell notification icon so you can be notified of future live streams. All of those buttons are completely free. They're completely free. So realistically, chat, right, there's no excuse. It's free. Go find the little thumb, click it. Even all you old folks, you can find it. Put your glasses on, find the little thumbs up, click. Right?
Just click it once, though.
Other ways you can support the channel if you want to. You probably have noticed in chat that some people are grey and some people are green. If you're green, you're a member and we love you. If you're grey, you're still a subscriber, so we still love you a little bit. If you also want to be green, however, you can become a member of the channel. If you hit the little $ next to the chat box, excuse me, it gives you an option to become a member of the channel. And if you are a member of the channel, it also gives you an option to gift memberships to other people. It gives you a little bit more access in Discord. You can get involved in the members polls that Ash does and stuff like that. It is a thing we're looking to build out. I'm aware I've said this in the past. I'm just a bit busy right now, but we'll get to it. Otherwise, if you want to support us financially but you don't want to become a member or gift memberships, what you can do is do what YouTube calls a super chat. We call them postcards because I hate the word super chat because it's horrible and ugly. But postcards basically mean you can spend some money, we get that money, you get to make a big point, we definitely read your comment out at the end of the show and discuss it. So there's some options for you. That's my admin-y bit out of the way. That's what you've got to do next week. If they hit 30 members.
30 members.
Ash is committed to doing that intro if we hit 30 members.
I didn't think it would go as wide, but there's about 5 people at the football yesterday like, are you doing the intro tomorrow? I was like, no, because they didn't do enough.
Right, okay, so this last weekend, well, not this last weekend, this current weekend, yesterday, in fact, specifically, Watford came to St Mary's, and I felt actually pretty good about it, because obviously we'd had the 2-0 win away at Stoke. All right, okay, the 1-1 draw at the Skates was not great, but it wasn't a loss.
It wasn't the worst.
And we looked against Stoke like we started to settle and things started to look a bit good. So the lineup comes out, and as always we talk about the lineup first, and it was the exact same mistake. There's not too much point. Not too much point talking about the starting 11. I think it's. I don't know about you, but I think it's quite interesting that Bree and Wellington are now, I think for most people at least, the obvious choices in those positions on the team sheet.
I think the performances, especially since James Bree has come back in, is kind of, they've cemented their places. Yeah. Very much. I mean, it's interesting because I haven't put this in the notes, but Mads Rorslev apparently is going to see a specialist due to the injury that he's got. And obviously, Elias Schiller is the other option. But Tonda's talked about in his press conferences about a potential lack of physicality and height. So
yeah, well, I'll talk a little bit more about it as we discuss the game itself. But the lineup's the lineup, right? We know by now. If you didn't watch it, you didn't see. We had Peretz in goal. I'll talk about him because there were a couple of very hair-raising moments during yesterday's game. We've got the centre-back partnership of Jack Stevens and Taylor, both of which in the past I've been quite hard on, and now actually as a pairing, they're starting to really settle, and I think they're starting to look really good. Bree at right back, Wellington at left back. Again, we will discuss those. I think Bree's come back from loan, and I was told that Charlton fans were glad to see the back of him because he'd become a bit of a scapegoat and a bit of a place to blame on him.
Yeah.
And I think he's come in and looked really solid. I utterly adore Wellington. It helps I've got a slight burning hatred for Manning, but I adore Wellington. I think Wellington is He's almost like a Brazilian Francis Benali, right? He'll just stick his foot in and put his body in anywhere.
Yeah, the difference is I just want to see Wellington welly one in from 25 yards. I just think he's got that ability to welly one in.
Do a Roberto Carlos, I know.
100%.
We then had Caspiander, Flynn Downs, and we then had Finn Azaz, Tom Fellows, Leo Cienza, and up front was Ross Stewart. What was interesting was the bench changed a bit. We saw Samadozi come back onto the bench for a first time in a long time. Tonda said in a press conference that they've basically put all the issues behind them now, drawn a line under it, and they're going to move forward with Adozi. I'm actually not entirely sad to see him in the... If we're going to keep him on wages, I'm not entirely sad to see him around the first team. More importantly, we had Kyle Larin on the bench, the new striker, which is... And I want to hold my hands up here. I'm one of the Saints fans that was like... Is this what we've bought? So the title specifically says Saints fans silenced, right? Because the rhetoric around his signing last week is that why have we bought this donkey and got rid of Adam Armstrong? And if you believe the social media kind of propaganda machine that happens, and you watch the highlight reels of his last season or so, where they specifically pick all the misses, he looked awful. He looked like, what have we signed? What have we signed? Anyway, we'll get to him. So I saw that lineup. Surprised to see Adozi go straight in, if I'm honest. Wasn't surprised to see Larin on the bench straight away. Wasn't surprised to see the same starting 11. I actually looked at that starting 11 and was like, it's probably what I'd pick right now.
Solid.
Yeah. I do think there's a question as to whether I would want to bring Shea Charles in permanently because I think he's very, very good. But in terms of how people have been playing, solid. And then we had the first half. It wasn't bad.
It wasn't great, though. It
wasn't
so
good.
Boring.
It was just dull.
Oh, my God. It was just boring and just... Jesus. I went home and the wife was watching Call the Midwife. I was like, I probably would have had more fun watching that in the first half. Jesus. It was just, I think, there was a couple of half chances. Zaz had a chance. We had that thing when Peretz was caught out and that was a bit iffy.
Yeah, so let's talk about Peretz, right? I actually think Peretz has been a bit of a wonder signing, quite honestly, because I think his shot... So if you look at his statistics in the league, and I know he's not played many games... But strictly speaking, if we go off percentages, his save percentage is currently the highest in the league, right?
Yep.
That's really good because Bazunas was near the bottom.
He's also kept 3 clean sheets since he's been here.
Right. So in terms of him as a goalkeeper, what do you want a goalkeeper to really do? What's a goalkeeper's primary role, Ash?
Stop the ball going in the back of the net.
Stop the fucking ball going in the back of the fucking net. It's not hard, right? And he does that. Highest save percentage in the league. And I've seen him pull off some amazing saves already. We've seen it a few times. Yep. Incredible saves that he's pulled off. So he clearly does that well. What he's not very good at is having the ball at his feet. Which is fine. I don't mind if a goalkeeper isn't great with the ball at his feet because he's supposed to be using his fucking hands. That's his job, right? So why do we keep trying to get him to muck about with it at the back of the team?
I would understand it if we were playing Cameron Archer up front or Adam Armstrong when he was here. I don't get it yesterday. And I think that there was a few times when we had that opportunity because he didn't realise someone was behind him. He then gives the ball away. It was a great recovery and tackle from, I think it was Wellington who did the recovery actually in the end.
It was.
And then we looked... There was a few other times when it got very, very close. And we're going to make no mistake, I'm fairly confident he's probably going to get caught out doing that. Clearly it's the way Tonda wants to play. Because he was the way that he wanted Gavin Bazunu to play. Having said that, at the moment, he's kept 3 clean sheets. We've just gone two clean sheets back to back.
This is something that really annoys me, though, because the anti-Tonda stuff has kind of calmed down a little bit. And of course it has, because he's been getting results again. And that's the ficklety of football, right?
Yeah.
Football fans are some of the most fickle people in the universe. So 3 or 4 weeks ago, when everyone's Tonda out, we don't hear that anymore. We don't hear that at all. Because guess what? We've just taken 10 points from 12.
10 points from 12.
So suddenly that's gone quiet again because he's grinding results out. And let's be honest, yesterday was grinding a result out. And you need to be able to, I think, if you're going to have any level of success, you need to be able to grind results out as well as put teams away at times. But But what frustrates me with modern day managers in general, and it's not just Honda because it happens everywhere, is that phrase that you've just said. Clearly, that's the way he wants to play. If you're a good manager, in my opinion, and I'm sat as a slightly fat bloke on a chair talking about football in my studio for a channel that doesn't really make any money, so for what my opinion is worth, if you're a good manager, you need to make sure you play players to their strengths. And you need to protect them. And I think asking a man who's bad with his feet to play with his feet that's how managers come undone. I need you to do this thing, but I can't do that thing. In any other industry, I physically can't do that thing. They're not going to go, just do it. And if they are, they're a terrible. If your manager does that, they're a terrible manager, for reference, right?
Hi guys.
So there was a couple of occasions, as Ash said, there's a couple of occasions where it was quite scary. There was one specifically which was really bad, and I was waiting for it to hit the back of the net, I'll be honest.
I think we all were.
I really was. And I was like, I can't. And the first half had been so dull that I didn't see how he would have recovered from that. You know what I mean? Like, there was no tempo. There was no kind of...
It was interesting that we weren't playing the longer game. It's like we were trying to force a tempo. And I think that... And I'm going to try and stick up for Tondra a bit here. I think potentially he might have identified the fact that Watford were fucking massive.
Yeah.
And even Ross Stewart wasn't going to win that many headers against
They were
them.
massive before they brought their subs on. They just got bigger.
Yeah, I know.
I feel like they just had their subs sat on the subs bench in grow bags. Fucking watered him. Oh, he's got a couple more inches. Get him on.
Yeah, done. Because they brought on the I can't remember what his name was. The guy that they brought on. He had a weird like Kerem guard, whatever, the striker.
Yeah.
And I was like, fucking look at the size of him.
So we did have a couple of chances. They weren't great. They were okay. There seemed to be, I think it felt like there seemed to be a lot of nervousness around the box, around the opposition box. People didn't seem to be keen to just put their foot through it and have a go.
I think that, yeah, Ross Stewart showed that in the first half and obviously had the chance that ran off. I thought that Leo looked completely off it yesterday. I thought that Finazaz was trying. I thought that we couldn't get fellows into the game as much as possible. And I think that, to be fair, the first half, pretty much, our front four were off the boil. And then when it got to half-time, and let's be honest, Watford hadn't really threatened either. They had a couple of half-chances, but they hadn't really threatened. And I'm going to say this now. If there are any Watford fans watching, sorry, guys, but they were dreadful. Yeah. They were very well compact and organised, and I can see why they got a draw at Hull at the week. But going forwards, I can see why Javi Gracia wanted more signings.
I will say as well, though, that I'm now at a point where, and someone said it in chat, where is it? It was Cameron. It's good to see us now winning these games 1-0. By the way, if you're in chat and you do write comments, Ash and I are constantly watching chat at the same time. We're one of those channels that likes to interact with you. So if you've got a point that you want to make and we think it's interesting, we will call it out. If we don't call it out, it's not because we don't think it's interesting. We might be talking, we might miss it. But he says, good to see us now winning these games 1-0. As in the past, we would lose 2-1 in that sort of game. And I think you're right. I agree with you. And I think the big thing there isn't also, it's not entirely down to Watford's going forward being bad. I think that back 4-5 now with Peretz, and the fact that he settled it, two teams, the same back five, 2 games in a row, 2 clean sheets. There's a reason for that. Well, I've said this before. I've talked about it on the show before. You let those people build those partnerships and build those specific like back lines and build how they play their offside trap and get used to where each other's going to play and get used to and work out who's going to cover where. And I think that for me, I think Bree and Wellington they put the work in as well. Taylor, I don't know what's happened to him, but he looks like a player transformed. Now he's in a back four.
Yeah.
He had a couple of stray passes, but he's also playing some beautiful passes. And even Jack Stevens. He's looking solid. He's looking like he's got fight again.
Agree. I'm just going to address a few things. Mark said it there. Leo looked tired to me. He's carrying injury. I'm convinced he's carrying an injury.
You have said that, yeah.
Because there was times when...
We'll get to him. Let's talk about back four.
So the back four, I think you nailed it in the head from the beginning, is that they're used to playing in a back four, and then now we've got a right back playing at right back, and we've got a left back playing at left back, and we've got 2 effectively solid central defenders at this level playing at centre back. We're not bugging around with 3 at the back. We're not bugging around with an inverted full back or people needing to come into midfield or anything like that. The roles are very simple. Even when Russell Martin played 4 at the back, he wanted inverted full backs and people coming in to the midfield. And yesterday, I pointed out to you yesterday, it was interesting. There was one point when Jack Stevens was almost in a midfield position, but that's because they clearly earmarked him to win the header against a certain player. And it just, apart from the chance that Watford got from Peretz losing the ball, was probably the most threatening they looked. They had a little bit of a half chance from a corner. They had one chance which he saved. I don't think he had a save to make in the second half.
I don't want to say this out loud, but I'm going to say this out loud. It's getting to the point where, in the past, in certain positions, you're going, oh, they're going to have a chance here and score a goal. And now I'm thinking, you're not going to get past Wellington. Because the amount of challenges that man put in yesterday, I thought Wellington was excellent yesterday. Actually, as an aside, very, very quickly, it really... So there's no spoilers there. You all know what happened. We won 1-0 and Larin got a goal on his debut. We'll touch on the second half in just a moment. It really fucks me off. And I mean it really fucks me off how fucking stupid people are. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but if a player comes on at 60 to 70 minutes, touches the ball with his head once and scores a goal, and then 10 minutes later they go, who's your man of the match? Him. Fuck off. Okay. People like Wellington must come off that pitch going, what have I got to do? Because Wellington was solid yesterday. I thought he had a really good game. He's flying in with tackles, he's making challenges, he's battling, he engined, worked up and down the pitch. Larin comes on, done. There's my trophy, thanks.
Interesting.
Unreal.
Interesting. We get to the members poll later, people.
It really fucks me off. And if you voted for Larin in the members poll, you fucked me off. Right. The other thing that was quite sad about the first half, actually, and this is another player whose back I've been on over the course of the last season and a half, Flynn Downs. Right. Again, solid against Pompey, showed some real battling, looked really good last week, and then this week started strong again, battling, fighting, and I was like, this is the Flynn Downs we signed, right? This is the player that we wanted. And he did come in with a big old tackle yesterday, and he got himself hurt. Now they have said afterwards that it looks like he's fine. He's in contention to play on Tuesday, so he'll be okay. Clearly, it was a be precautious type thing. What's really nice, however, is the ability to bring on Shay Charles, like you take Flynn Downs off. Not a bad swap, is it? Let's be honest.
Not a bad swap.
No.
So. And I'd probably expect that to be rotated round for Tuesday anyway. But yeah.
So let's talk about Leo as well. Actually, let's go through the second half quickly. There was a chance for him specifically in the second half, which I thought he was going to bury, and he didn't.
He kind of snatched it, didn't he?
He did, yeah, he did. Which probably links into I think he might be carrying an injury. And then we made some changes, and we took off Ross Stewart, who I think yesterday, maybe I'm being harsh here. I'd love to know what you think. I think it was just kind of ineffectual yesterday.
I think he tried, but he just had one of those games where he couldn't really get into it, couldn't really get hold of the ball, didn't really have a lot of chances. But then at the same time, there were two chances that he had where he could have. One was where he passed it to his eyes when he should have hit it, and one was the one where he headed it down when he could have potentially taken it down, and shot. Yeah,
I just didn't. I thought he kind of looked out the game. He didn't look. And don't get me wrong, when they've got 85 feet centre backs, it is difficult for your tall player to get in the game. And Ross Stewart isn't the best with his feet.
Yeah.
So I think he might not have been the greatest pick against Watford, but I thought he was quite ineffectual. So in the second half, they took him off and they took Leo off. They put on Samadozi, they put on Larin. I thought that was a bit of a surprise. I would have expected to see Jay Robinson ahead of Sam, but he brought him on and
Jay
fine.
Robinson's got an injury, which is why he's not on the bench.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair, perfect. That's why he wasn't on the team sheet.
I think he's got a quad injury.
And Larin had on the pitch for about 5 minutes. We had a corner. Bree took it. Beautiful corner from Bree.
Best corner we've had all season, isn't it?
And a diving header, and the ball hits the back of the net. And I was like, fair play. Because like I said, the shit that he'd got online beforehand, Now, he's a bit different to a Damien Downs, because Damien Downs is a young lad, and he probably sees all the shit on social media and gets quite upset about it. Larin's not a young lad. He's a 30-year-old dad of 3. So I think he's probably less bothered by people online, and he probably thinks, "Fuck him, who cares? I'll play my football." Yeah. And he smashed it at the back of the net, and the stadium erupted. And he looked really fucking happy with that as well. I'll be honest.
To be fair, I did notice it, and I said it to our dad when we got back into the car yesterday. We've obviously scored a fair few goals at St Mary's this year. Not many at our end. It's nice to see one at our end.
It is, yeah.
But it's one of those goals. The noise. It's almost like everyone had that sort of. You'd seen all the rhetoric online about, he's going to be rubbish, he's been rubbish, and when he got that, I think everyone was like, it was almost like a sigh of relief. Finally, we've got someone who can put the ball in the back of the net.
It's just, I go back to football fans being fickle. When a player signs for your club, no one wants to sign for a club and be shit. No one wants to steal a wage. They don't. They absolutely don't. They want to be loved by fans. They want to do well. And when you have a couple of bad games and the whole fan base gets on your back, I think it's a bit unfair. I can sort of understand it when it's an unknown signing who no one's really ever heard of, and everyone goes, who's this donkey? And then he has a couple of bad games. I kind of get it, especially because of Sports Republic's history. So I do understand that. However, I think sometimes, especially new players in this league for the first time, in England in general for the first time, I feel like we have to be a little bit fairer to them and give them some time to settle. So I think that the fact that he came in and smashed that off his bonce and got it straight in the back of the net, that's going to help him settle more than anything else.
I think it was a great goal. It was an absolute fantastic header, bullet header. And to be fair to him, I don't think he's match fit. He didn't look match fit, and he still tried to keep himself in and around the right areas. He was battling. He was trying to do everything he could do. He kind of did everything that Ross Stewart didn't.
Miniac says, "Good to meet you today, Liam. Thanks for taking the time to chat." I'm glad you came and said hello.
Is that what you were talking about earlier?
Yeah. I was at a convention today for what my main channel is, my main business is, and it was interesting because I don't want to sound like a dick.
You are a dick.
But I'm going to sound like a dick for a minute.
You are a dick.
I spent the weekend getting stopped by people because it's my wheelhouse, right? That's what I do for a living. So I spent a weekend being stopped by people.
Police officers.
Who saying, Liam, love the channel, thanks very much. Right? And for those of you who don't know, they're not talking about this one because I've got a much bigger one. And Miniac today stopped me. He's like, Liam. He's like, I watched the show. I was like, oh, cool. And I just assumed Warhammer. Just assumed it, right? And he's like, yeah, great Sunday evenings. And I was like, the football show? And he's like, yeah. I was like, oh. And he didn't have any clue about the other one, despite the fact he was there at a convention. Anyway, I thought I'd share that little story. I was really chuffed for him. And so Ian said there, when was the last time we saw a goal like that? Murray's. It was almost BT-esque, Lambert-esque.
Pele-esque.
Pele. It kind of was. What he did is he saw that ball come in, and it was a sweet ball in from James Bree. And the post-match interview, Kyle said, I just threw myself at it. I was like, that's mine. And we haven't seen that in the box. Because can you honestly see Ross Stewart throwing himself at that ball that same way? I can't.
I don't think he's got the strength to throw himself at the ball that way.
I just don't think he's built to do that.
No,
exactly. And when they brought him on, he is a presence.
He's a big lad, isn't he? He's like
a big stocky Emil Heskey-esque kind of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was like, and actually, do you know what? That is what I think we've needed for a while. Actually, a powerhouse. We've said it actually loads. Powerhouse up front, a target man, someone to bully defences. And there was a couple of times when he got the ball and he was wrestling and he comes up with the ball. I think maybe he could be a good signing. Maybe we got quite lucky here.
Well, we don't want to get carried away.
We don't want to get carried away, but early signs look good.
Early signs are good.
Yeah. And I think Sam looked all right as well, actually. If you think about Romeo and Aribo coming on the pitch after months out, both of them looked tired, sluggish, unfit, not interested. Adozi's had, I think the last time he played in the Saints show was 2024.
Yes.
Right? He's a long time away. He's now come in and he didn't look as lethargic and as kind of tired as the other two did, who had been out for a while. He had a bit of fight in him and he was already
I've always rated Adozi. He's just direct. He just wants to get the ball and run at people, which is what potentially we needed yesterday. And I've seen a few people there saying about Leo Senza being doubled up on. And do you know what? I understand that people are doubling up on Senza, but yesterday had 3 or 4 opportunities in the first half where he was one-on-one with that defender and he didn't want to run at him. A couple of times he kind of did, but he didn't want to do it. And I just wonder, you would assume potentially he'll start on Tuesday. Don't start in the cup. But, it's nice to have...
Give him a rest, especially if he's carrying a knock.
Robinson was coming on and Robinson was doing bits and pieces. He did okay, but not really anything. But Adozi gives you that something different because he's got the pace and he will just go at people and go at people and go at people.
So I mean, we ground out a win, right? And I was slightly more comfortable at the end of the game towards the end of the game than I have been. I wasn't comfortable because it's Saints, but I was slightly more comfortable. And then when he brought on Nathan Woods,
oh god,
and took off Tom Fellow. Was it Tom Fellow who took off Nathan Woods?
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
I was like, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. But he got a 1-0 result, and like I said earlier, I think the game was a bit dull. I'm very happy that Larin got a goal in his debut, but I don't think I was particularly excited about the game. I enjoyed the social more than I enjoyed the football, I think, quite frankly.
Is that because I was there?
But no, Matt and Ian. But but the point is, in those circumstances a few months ago, we probably would have looked at that and thought we were going to lose. We'd be lucky if we got a point. The fact that he's grinding out a 1-0 result now is a positive.
Yes.
And we got 3 points from a game where in the past we might not have got 3 points. So I overall, I'm happy. If you can play boring and shit and win, that's a good place to be.
Look, we played boring and crap against Sheffield United and we got a win. We played almost awful against the Skates and got a point. We played really, really well and direct against Stoke and got a win. And we played boring and crap and got a win. If we play boring and crap for 10 games for the rest of the season and get a win, I'll be happy.
Yeah,
Done.
100%, absolutely.
Done.
Grind results out. It's like in the Premier League. We went to the Premier League under Russell Martin, and we try to play pretty football and getting beat. I don't want pretty football and beat. I want ugly football and win.
Yeah,
that's what I want. So, members poll. Then you've set me up for this one now, haven't you? What happened in the members poll?
So obviously, I do the members poll, and I thought I'd take the mickey because obviously those of you who are around us, they would know that. I mean, Jimmy sits about 4 rows in front of us. I'm surprised he doesn't hear you with the amount of shit that you come out of during the game.
What are you talking about? I'm a quiet individual.
I put on a few names, and one of the names that I did put on the poll was Carl Larin, and he was a very close second.
Who got first?
Wellington, which
the
I
correct
think was
choice.
the right move.
Well done, members. That's the correct choice. It just does my head in, like.
Yeah, but it's just not the fans, though. It's the Sky commentators. Someone comes on after 80 minutes, scores a goal, and they're like, I'll give him man of the match. He's only played 10 fucking minutes.
Right. And to be fair, if he's come on to a team that's been awful all game and they haven't done anything and they've looked pretty piss poor and he scores a wonder goal, fair enough. Okay. That's fine.
Yeah.
I don't mind that. He's literally come on and completely changed the game. However, when he's come, like Larin hasn't changed the game there. He's just scored a goal, right? He's changed the game in the sense that we won instead of drew, but all he's done is thrown himself at a cross that Bree put in. Wellington worked his bollocks off yesterday.
I find it hard when you get the commentators that do that and the people that go, I'm going to give it to the striker that scored the 1 goal and a 1-0. Because I'm like, what about it's a defence that's worked bloody hard to keep the clean sheet, or the goalkeeper that's kept a clean sheet, or the midfielder that's kept the balance of play going? But football fans will be football. But,
It's nice to know that our members are sensible, though, and Wellington won the match.
Odd to come away. It's 4 points. It's 10 points in 12. It's 4 games of the back 4 with 10 points in 12. It's a bit more positivity. It's a win. It's a lot more. We'll go on to the transfer windows in a minute because obviously I will cover a lot of it because I know that people will have opinions. And guys, keep those likes coming in. See, no one wants me to present the show next week because they're not doing their bit. See?
There's no 30 members, is there?
No, it's back on you. But it'll be interesting to see. We're into a 3-game week, but I'm firmly of the opinion, and I'm going to get it out there now. I'm firmly of the opinion I don't give a shit about next Saturday. The cup game, I don't care. We're not going to win the FA Cup anyway, so I don't really care. It's got to be on Tuesday.
I at this point in the season and where we are, I would rather be out of the cup and not have the distraction. What I don't want to do, though, and I've said this before a million times, is I don't want to be out of the cup to an to a team that could be a problem for us in the league. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you're going to go out and you get smashed by a Man United or an Arsenal or a Liverpool, right? You're like, okay, fair enough. We didn't expect to win. If you go out by Leicester, you probably expected to win. I think one of them has a significantly bigger impact on morale, if I'm honest. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I agree, but anyway, it's nice to know that our members have sensible heads on and they picked the man who was great all game rather than the guy who just came in and scored a goal. That's it.
Yes, I am still going Matty because, football, innit?
Yeah.
Valentine's Day.
Yeah. And the people that there's people with it defending the fact that he scored a goal so he gets man of the match. Like, if you were working for 12 hours on a shift, right, getting everything nice and neat and tidy, ready for an inspection, and one twat comes in with an hour to go and polishes a mirror. I'm only doing this because it's military reference, right? Polishes a mirror, and then they come in and inspect, and they tell that one lad who's done an hour, "Well done, mate. Good work." You're going to be pissed off. You are. It's a fact. You're going to be pissed off. Actually, downstairs, I've got some 3D printers, and I've learned that one of them can do laser etching.
I don't know what that is.
So what we could do is we could laser etch a Man of the Match award onto a piece of glass, okay? And every week that we do a Man of the Match award, we could then go to the club and be like, right, Beef, yeah, because he shouldn't have fucking had that trophy. You can have the Saints Network trophy.
All right.
I reckon the club will let us do that.
I still don't know what laser etching is, but that's fine.
It's etching with lasers.
I don't know what etching is.
If you've got anything you want to say about the game, chat, stick it in the comment section, or you can obviously super chat it right now. We'll talk to you about it at the end of the stream. If you do put it on a super chat, we read every single one out, and we will discuss them, unless you're on the wind up.
We'll still discuss them if you're on the wind up.
Yeah.
We'll just say how much of a knob you are.
Yeah. Let's get to the transfer window bit, Ash. So that was the game. Like I said, we ground a win out. I didn't enjoy the game, but I do think that, honestly speaking, I do think that it's actually a good thing that we ground a result out of yesterday's match, and I think it's a net positive that you can play like that and get a result. So I'd rather... I haven't really seen us grind any wins out this year, really, to be honest with you, this season, and we did. So I think that's positive. That's what I'm taking from anyway, and it's another win. I don't want to be negative about a win.
Watford, tick, move on.
Done. Yeah, completed it, mate. So let's get back to the transfer window, right? So obviously we were live last Sunday. There was a lot of rumours floating around. Monday was the last day of the transfer window, and it happened. And some of the things that happened, we were not massively surprised at. Bottle of ketchup. His move is now final. He's gone. Good.
He's gone to old fair Verona.
No one cares. Good. Off the wage bill. Never coming back. Great. Right. Then Larios. He's gone to Zaragoza. If that
Zaragoza, yeah.
Is that a permanent move?
He's gone for a permanent move to Zaragoza. No, I think it's a loan deal.
I think it's a loan, isn't it? I think it's a loan
to
again.
Zaragoza. He's linked up with Ruben Selles.
Okay, yeah, good. Joe Aribo to Leicester, which I think Leicester are on crack. And the reason why I think they're on crack is A, they took him, and B, they started him.
Yeah, I was going to get onto that in a bit, but yeah, they started him yesterday, and there was I thought I'd have a bit of a laugh, and I went through sort of the Leicester Twitter feed, and it was interesting. There were so many of them saying like, "This guy, he's played 39 minutes. He looks so unfit. He's failing already. Like, who is this guy? Why have we got him? Etc. Etc."
Well, I don't understand the loan. He was coming on for us after 60, 70 minutes of a game being played. So he's coming onto a pitch of tired players, and he looked more tired than them. So how they thought he was going to start a game and be in good shape, I don't know. That being said, I've heard, I think he's on a 70 grand wage a week, and I think they've taken 40 grand of it. I think they've taken 60, 70% of the wage on. Mm-hmm. That's money off our books for a player that we weren't really using. So treat yourself, Leicester. Talking about players that left, Armstrong. So it was announced finally on Monday that he was in fact leaving, and he made a permanent move to Wolves, who were in the relegation zone, obviously, of the Premier League. How did you feel about it when you saw it?
I know that the chat can be behind, so I want to know what chat feels about Armour leaving. So guys, let us know what you feel. I personally am not overly disappointed. I think it got to the point where he wanted to leave for a start, right? Fine, and I don't want to keep a player that doesn't want to be here. Not that I think he would have down tools, but he obviously wanted to go. I've never been Adam Armstrong's biggest fan. I think that it's a move that works well for both parties because he had 18 months left in his contract, and we get him a bit of money back for it. I think he was probably potentially just speculating. I'm not saying he was. Potentially could have been part of the issue in the dressing room. I think he was a poor captain when he was captain. Having said that, that's the reason I put this shirt on Marcus tonight, because he was wearing that shirt when he gave us probably the biggest height of his footballing career, which was obviously scoring the winning goal at Wembley.
Leeds playoff, yep.
I think I was about to say this. Matty McManus, Evening Matt, has just put it there. It's a weird transfer. I think it is a weird transfer because he's gone from struggling to get into the Saints team against like Sheffield United to then playing for Wolves against Chelsea. But
it was weird, isn't it?
I think it was about the right time for us. I've seen a bit, and I'm not criticising people for their opinion because it's their opinion, but a lot of people on Football Martin channel saying, I think it's a really bad move to say top goal scorer in the middle of the season, etc., etc. He hasn't scored in 10 games. I just think that, for me, personally, my opinion, I'm not bothered by it.
This is a bit of a nothing question, and it's a bit of a stupid question, but I'm going to ask anyway. If you take away the fact that he was our top goal scorer, and just go on the way he plays, his mannerisms, etc., would you then have been as unsure about the move? Because I think that what I've seen actually and how I felt was, so I one of the things that I've said is exactly what you've just said, right? He's our top goal scorer. In fact, at the time he was the league's top goal scorer, and we're selling him, and we're a team that, according to the club, because I know what we think should happen. The club will want to be pushing for playoffs It just will. No doubt. Whether we all think we're ready for it or not, which I categorically don't, and I think if this current squad of players goes up to the Premier League, we get battered again. But the club will want to push for playoffs. And if that is your intent, if Spurs' intent is to push for playoffs, selling the league's top goal scorer, and obviously your top goal scorer at the same time, to another club, granted not competition because they're in the Premier League, they could be competition next year. It seemed like a stupid move. But I sort of sat back and started to think about it a little bit. And I actually think that Spurs is doing an okay job at getting rid of that dead wood that we talked about quite a lot. And I actually wonder if Armstrong, although the top scorer, although seemingly playing okay this season, he wasn't great, but playing okay this season, I wonder if maybe he was a bit rotten. And he was part of the wider problem in the dressing room.
Just think, and we had a long conversation in the Discord. It's just clicked up there, guys. If you're new, get in the Discord. It's free. Come and join us for the football chat. I just don't think it was a move. I'm just not bothered. I'm really not. And do you know what? I know Larin comes in and we said, he's done it good. He could be rubbish after this. He could do nothing. But I think we need to start looking at next year. I think we need to start building for next year. And I don't think Adam Armstrong is part of that.
Well, and I also don't think that he fits. So he's not a 10. He's not really a winger. He's not really a 9.
He played 10 for Wolves yesterday. He got an assist, to be fair to him. He also got booked. But
he's a forward. I'm not entirely... Anyway, he's been a good servant. I genuinely wish him the best, Despite, I don't know if he was toxic. I don't know. I don't know if he was rotten. But I wish him the best because he's been a servant and he did always seem to work hard. I did, however, see someone from a Wolves fan zone thing put something on social media saying Armstrong might be the worst player I've ever seen in a Wolves shirt, which I think is a little harsh, but maybe they're not so happy either. He's gone. Obviously, that was the outs. There's a lot of outs there.
The issue with Armour, the big issue with Armour, is that he's gone to play 13, 14, 15 games in the Premier League where we know he can't cut it. So his confidence in the next 4 or 5 weeks is just going to hit rock bottom because Wolves had a little bit of resurgence, but they're going down. There's no doubt about it. And that's why they bought him, because they're starting to get ready for the Premier League. The Championship, sorry. They're going down. So, it's the last big move he'll get. And I said this to our dad yesterday coming out. It wouldn't surprise me if we sit doing this show in 4, 5, 6 years' time and Adam Armstrong, he'll just start dropping divisions.
Yeah.
And he won't be one of those players that's always playing constantly at the top and retires at the top. He'll retire playing League 2 or Conference football, National League.
Yeah, football. I think you're right, though. I think they have to have been looking at him for a Championship season next season rather than for the Premier League season. Because I don't think, if you're looking for a Premier League season, I don't think you buy Armstrong, if I'm honest.
If you buy Armstrong and you're looking for him, you need to be sacked if you're looking for him in the Premier League.
Yeah, it's like pushing for playoffs and buying a Rebo. Obviously, Larin came in, as we know, and we've now seen what he's like a little bit, and I'm slightly more comfortable now with him scoring that goal and looking really fired up. Interestingly, the Saints have bought him on a loan with an option to buy, which is good. I think that's smart business. Let's get a look at you. Let's see it, because we don't want to do a Damien Downs. We don't want to blow X number of £1 million only to find out that you're an actual donkey. So spend some money on your wages, get a look at you. We like you. We'll make the move permanent if you impress. I think that's solid. I can see you adding stuff behind the bottom.
Yeah, I forgot to add something. It's nothing major, don't worry.
Ultimately, I think that the business in the transfer window wasn't. What's interesting, right, is the business in the transfer window wasn't as much as I was hoping, which is an odd thing to say about January, because January is never that exciting and that busy for a transfer window, because good players, clubs don't want to sell them because it's mid-season. So it's never that important. It's a bit of strengthening here and there. What did we say we needed? What was the 2 positions we said we needed?
Goalkeeper and a striker.
What's he brought in?
Goalkeeper and a striker.
He's done it. And what did we say we needed from a goalkeeper? A bloke who's good at stopping shots. What did we say we needed from a striker? A physical presence.
Look, I think the only thing that potentially, in terms of the transfer window, disappoints me is we all know that obviously Cameron Archer wanted out, and he was due to go to Rangers, which fell through. And I'm led to believe that he was a bit pissed about the fact that fell through. And we are technically sat there looking at Larin, Stewart, Archer, and it doesn't really fill you a lot of confidence. So potentially they could have done more to bring in maybe another goal scorer. I don't know, because we know Ross Stewart's going to become injured. Having said that, this whole January transfer window as a whole has been quite dull. The whole January transfer window has been quite dull. Yeah. So I don't think the business was the end of the world. Look, if Larin gets another 4 to 5 goals, or even if he gets another 8, 9, 10, if he gets 8, 9, 10 before the end of the year, he's been a success. If he gets 4 to 5 goals, if he gets in between that, we're going to sign him on a permanent. You use him to replace Ross Stewart and just let Ross Stewart go.
And it is about goals as a striker, but it's also about more than goals. It's about his presence, it's about how he bullies defence, it's about holding the ball up, laying balls off other people.
Yes.
If he can hold the ball up and lay it off and bring more people like Leo and Finn and fellows in, we're golden. By the way, and I forgot about this all completely as well, but what a great YouTube name. I'm a cop, you idiot. It says, Larin trying to make Canada national team this summer. He will play hard for you this year. I forgot about that he'll want to make the national team.
It's the reason he came.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd love nothing more than for him to score, bang 10 goals in for us, and then go to Canada land and bang some goals in for them in the World Cup.
Cameron said in chat, keeping Taylor Howard-Bellis was key, especially as he forms this partnership for the rest of the season. Would you have rather lost Armstrong or Howard-Bellis?
Oh, Armstrong, 100%.
Exactly.
I
think most fans are the same.
I have never been, like I said, he gave us a really great moment at Wembley, which I didn't even celebrate because I thought it was offside. And I loved all that, and I'll never forget that. That's going to be a memory that lives with me for a lifetime. But I never rated him. No. Even in the Championship, I never rated him.
No, he was one of those people when we kept no sale that I was like, I'd keep him for the Championship, but he's not a Premier League player.
He's had one purple patch this year when they all had a purple patch when Tonda took over, and he had a couple of goals beforehand. But he's done nothing since. And I know there are some people that were commenting on some of the other shows and stuff they do and saying, he got an assist on his debut for Wolves. They got battered 3-1 by Chelsea. They're going down. So get over it, guys. Seriously.
Yeah.
It's just nearly knocked your table.
I think actually, again, like I said, we've cleared Deadwood. Like ABK going permanent, great. Larios is always injured anyway. Aribo going out is great. Armour going out, not so great, but I think he's part of that old guard that they're starting to move on. We needed a striker and a goalkeeper. We brought in a striker and a goalkeeper. We did also, interestingly, bring in a 17-year-old from Stoke.
Yeah, 6'4".
This guy?
I don't know anything about him. He's 6'4" and apparently he's rapid. He's also got dreadlocks, which I think is cool.
You're all right by us.
Yeah, done. You're welcome, mate.
There you go. That's the transfer news. We don't have anything in other club news, no?
We've signed a 17-year-old yet. No, there's not really been much going on this week, to be fair.
No, it's been all quiet on the club front, really, which has been.
It's almost as if they're trying to let the football do the talking.
Yeah. I didn't know in last week, although I think the prices are already out, the pricing for the FA Cup game. So there's FA Cup tickets still available if you do want to watch Saints play Leicester next Saturday. And they priced it very cheap.
It's a £5 for kids and it's £10 for adults.
It's not bad, is it?
It's the cheapest they can go to.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Cheapest they're allowed to go to.
Not bad. So there you go. There's some club news. In the wider Championship, Leicester have had a points deduction.
They have.
Now, I looked at that points deduction, and if you compare it to some of the other more recent points deduction, it seems to me, at least on the surface, that the Premier League is kind of random as to how many points they deduct you for.
I think the punishment doesn't fit the crime.
Okay, in terms of it's too harsh or not harsh enough?
I don't think it's harsh enough.
Okay.
So we're led to believe the Premier League were pushing for a 20-point deduction. And it went to an independent regulator who decided that 6 was sufficient enough, and then the Football League then had to make a decision whether they applied it now or whether they applied it in pre-season ready for the new season. Guys, please correct me if I get any of this wrong, because I don't do this as my job because I don't give memberships. But
facts.
But the whole thing around it stinks. It's been going on for what? It's a similar situation, right, to the Man City 115 charges. And the fact that that's all gone quiet and we heard nothing about that. So the problem is with it is Forest had points deducted. I think Everton had points deducted and a few other teams have done it. And it seems to be that some teams, the punishment doesn't fit the crime. So you go up to the Premier League, spunk all your money on a load of players and make yourself stay up. You only get a 4-point deduction next season.
Isn't there a story coming out that Leicester have demonstrated that they're working to solve their PSR issues?
Which... I don't.
And that's why they're a bit more lenient.
I don't care. Because at the end of the day, you talk about Joe Aribo, and let's just say that Leicester had taken on the majority of his wages. They still replaced him yesterday with 90 grand a week Harry Winks.
Yeah, I think that they should have a lot more than 6 points.
The 6 points, and do you know what? Leicester are in big trouble. They've obviously got no manager, Andy King. We're going to get onto the preview in a minute. But we've done all that, and I know we're not in the Premier League now, so we're not going to talk about the ones up there. But Forest had a 4-point deduction for spunking some money and keeping himself up, and Leicester tried to do the same across the Championship, and they've spent so much money. And I don't think the fans necessarily... I'd love to know whether the fans are against the owners, but it's the same owners that obviously got them the Premier League and the FA Cup. But it just... They're going to stay up this year. I think they'll stay up. I think they'll be fine, because I think there's teams that are worse off than them.
Have they applied it straight away?
Sorry? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're down. So they're now down, and then when I go through the table in a minute, they're now down towards the bottom. They're just above the relegation zone. Obviously, they lost away at Birmingham yesterday. But I don't know. I'd love to get a Leicester fans take on it, because it just seems that the club is almost in free fall at the moment.
Okay, interesting. Ipswich got a win. Norwich, Birmingham, Swansea, Millwall, Bristol City all got wins yesterday.
And the one thing that I did put in there, but I didn't say when I was at home, Coventry dropped points again.
Did they?
They drew at home to Oxford. So if Middlesbrough win against Sheffield United tomorrow, Middlesbrough go top.
Is it possible? Are they going to
looks
bottle
like
it?
it's going to happen.
Are they going to?
They could bottle it.
Well, they're going to bottle it. After my Twitter feed post the Coventry game, I really want them to bottle it. I do.
I think everyone does.
After Fat Frank and his behaviour, and then my Twitter feed afterwards, which fucking erupted, by the way, I want them to bottle it. I'd love to see them drop to third and then not got through the playoffs.
So
I think for clarity, chat, I think they'll still go up. I do. I think they're too good this season to not go up. But if they bottle automatic after being so clear at the top,
Oxford had Will Lancashire sent off as well. So
that's one of the stories of all time, innit?
it would be one of the stories of all time.
Be one of the stories of all time. Go on, Coventry, bottle it for us. And then Skatewatch is back.
Skatewatch, back, which is odd because we have to remember that they're better than us. Remember?
Yeah, of course they're better than us. Yeah,
that's because they're better.
That's what he said to us in the chat. Didn't he?
Said to us in the chat.
Yeah, so much better. That's they lost to Preston.
They lost away at Preston, and to be fair, they also had a very blatant penalty denied. No one cares. So in terms of the Championship table, if we talk about it, Leicester sit 21st on 32 points. Blackburn are 22nd on 32 points. Pompey have got 33 points. West Brom are just above them. We're kind of now there's starting to be a slight little divide from sort of Sheffield United 16th downwards. So anyone sort of 16th, 15th, unless you go on a good run, are sort of going to be in that run. But we're starting to move up the table. We are now 11 points off the bottom three, but only 4 points off the playoffs. So Gart's going to not mind me mentioning this, but because Wrexham were beaten at home yesterday by Millwall, we are now only 4 points off sixth position. But at the moment, if you're chasing the playoffs, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 teams trying to get in that sixth position.
So Wrexham still holding sixth for now?
Wrexham hold on sixth for now on 47. Millwall are fifth on 53. Hull are fourth on 54. And Ipswich are third on 54. But Ipswich have a game in hand. And
Borough at what?
Borough are on 58 with played 30. Played 30 on 58. Coventry are played 31 on 59. And Borough have won 5 in a row in the league.
So actually, it is conceivable that Coventry could drop into that playoff slot.
Well, interestingly enough, it is conceivable because the two form teams of the division right now are Middlesbrough and Norwich. And Norwich have shot up from being second bottom and they're now 17th and only 3 points behind Sheffield United. So there's a lot of movement around. What you'll see if you look at the Championship table is, like I said, from 6th down to 15th, there's 5 points that separate 6th to 15th.
I kind of love that, though. I do.
So, we could go to Leicester on Tuesday and win and potentially be 1 point outside the playoffs. We could go to Leicester on Tuesday and lose and potentially be, we could only drop down to 15th, but yeah.
Like I said, I kind of love that. I think that's one of the reasons why I do enjoy the Championship, despite the fact I think the football's significantly shitter. I do enjoy the Championship because of that reason alone. As a Saints fan, and I know how we can be, it makes me nervous at the same time. But that's one of the reasons why I do really love the playoffs as a concept, because if another team was closer to Coventry, Middlesbrough points and we didn't have the playoffs, you'd be like, well, what's there to fight for those people that are in 12th, 13th, 14th?
Can I just say, Gutsy, I have no idea what you're on about the squirrel at Hull yesterday. If you can enlighten me, I have no idea.
But yeah, I think it being that close and having an opportunity to go into sixth and still go up is, honestly, I love it. So we have got some previews to do. Before we go into the previews for next week, however, I'll jump into chat very quickly because we did have a cheeky little £10 super chat from Mosshead.
They really don't want me to do the show next week.
He said, have a tenner, Liam, as an apology for my members' vote. The real man of the match was Wellington, though. He really put a shift in. Mosshead obviously voted for Larin. Shocking, Mosshead, shocking. But I will allow it because you do super chat to tenner, so thank you so much.
Thank you, mate.
Yeah, 30 members is all he wanted to do the show next week, look, and he's been greedy. I think Ian said he was going to give us 50 on his own, and
Well, no one wants me to do it, apparently.
I think what he's done is he's pressed that button and said how much that costs and went, nope.
No one wants me to do it.
Like, so, previews are previews. You know, we've got Leicester twice. So we moved the game against Leicester because of the Cup and then drew Leicester in the Cup. So we have Leicester away in the league on Tuesday night.
Yes.
Flynn Downs is supposed to be back in contention. No other injury or issues to worry about, just obviously managing minutes. And then we have Leicester home in the Cup on Saturday. So I'm going to preview the league game. If you want to preview the Cup game, we can, but I don't care about it.
We'll touch on the Cup game quickly.
So league game, Leicester's form, their performance. Obviously, they're now below us because of their points deduction, but that doesn't mean they're a bad side. It's just because they've had a points deduction.
Leicester have lost 4 of the last 5. They've only got 1 point in 15.
Oh, really?
And they've had a 6-point deduction. They've had a 6-point deduction. They've also not got a manager. They've had a couple of players sent off. So yesterday, Bobby Dickovdover-Reid was sent off for them. So he was sent off, and I'm led to believe it was for violent conduct. So it's a 3-game ban. Look, Leicester are a team that potentially, if on their day, they've got amazing attacking talent with Ansu Fatiwu, Stephen Mavididi, and they've got obviously decent players at the bench. They've got Jamal Lascelles from Newcastle on loan. They've got Ricardo Pereira, Harry Winks, Oliver Skipp. You know, so many players that you look at and you think, geesh, they're really good players. But they're in free fall. My only issue is we don't tend. I only remember us winning at King Power twice.
Okay.
Well, once. So I remember us winning at King Power. And it's just typical us to fuck it up. But we're not going to have a better opportunity. So Joe Revo's not going to be able to play. Obviously, not going to be able to play against his parent club. So they're going to have to make at least 2 changes. And obviously, they lost yesterday to away at Birmingham. They did equalise, but obviously Bobby Dickovdover-Reid was sent off about 10 minutes later. Someone said it in the chat yesterday, would I take a point at Leicester? Yeah, I would. Because I'm still not massively confident because the performances haven't been convincing. Having said that, when we went to Stoke, we were in the same situation. We pulled out a blinder and got the win. I would expect him to go full strength for the game on Tuesday, and I would expect him to make changes and for the fringe players with inverted commas to come in on Saturday.
Okay. So predictions, specifically.
I'm going to say 1-1.
Okay. I'm going to go 1-0 Saints.
Another clean sheet?
Another clean sheet. It's been a while since we had a run of clean sheets. I'm just kind of
what we saying, chat?
Momentum.
What we saying?
Tell us what you think the score will be on Tuesday specifically for Saints Leicester. That's what I care about, right? That's what I care about.
In regards to the Cup game, look, I think that in terms of it, you'll probably see changes. Alex McCarthy will probably come into goal. You'll have Brian Manning and Madsky and Gillett and all that lot. But I think that potentially he just needs to use that game as a chance to try a few different things. He's not going to go back to 5 at the back. The only positions, obviously, Flynn Downs on Tuesday potentially could be out of contention. And it's whether Ross Stewart is fit enough to start on Tuesday, because I potentially would suggest that Carl Larin isn't fit enough to start on Tuesday.
Yeah, you're probably right. 2-1 Saints, a lot of people. There's a couple of 1-0s there. Alan says 1-0, Spencer says 1-0. Alison says 2-0. Is that to Saints or just in general? 1-0 Saints and Cup game 2-0 to us. Okay. 0-1 dirty win. Well, James Neal goes with you. 1-1, a 1-1 draw. Interesting. I think we'll get the win. I do. I think we're going to nick it. I think you're right. I think they are in a bit of free fall. I'll be honest. 1-0 to us, says Becky.
Yeah, but we also know that when teams are in free fall, Dr. Southampton like to turn up.
Oh, so Alison said 2-0 Saints. I mean, there's no one there that thinks we're going to lose.
See you next Sunday.
Stand by.
It's not even on TV either.
Yeah. Right. Good show.
Yeah.
Nice chat. Yeah. We're finishing on time, I guess, tonight, rather than going 10 minutes over because I've got to be up early in the morning.
You'll be up early. I'm going to be on the radio.
I could be on the radio tomorrow.
Yeah, cool. I've got to be up early because I've got to go to work.
It is work.
Oh, shut up.
It is work.
I've got to drive down to that part of Hampshire.
I'm on BBC Radio Silent tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, 10-0 Saints. Jesus, Matty Jones has had a pint again.
Yeah, don't, because did you notice he's been putting in Gary Cyril in the entire chat?
Everyone's
like, no idea what he's on about.
I've ignored it.
Well, no idea.
Okay. Anyway, I got to be up early tomorrow because I've got to be on the radio. famous people things. So we are going to say goodnight to you, wonderful human beings. Hopefully you've enjoyed the show. If you have enjoyed, there's 130 plus people watching right now. 61 of you have liked it. If you've enjoyed the show, please make sure you smash that like button before you leave tonight. That's really, really helpful. Thank you to Mossa for the £10 super chat. That means that Ash and I have worked for £5 an hour each tonight. Actually, we haven't because YouTube takes 30%. So we've worked for £3.50 an hour each. Actually, we haven't because we're here early to set everything up. So we've worked for about £2 an hour each.
Yeah.
Hopefully you have enjoyed the show there. You guys have been amazing. Thank you so much for hanging out with us in chat. Thank you for talking. Thank you for keep chatting because it's really good. And we see things, we go, oh yeah. So it is genuinely really helpful, you guys chatting away over there. And we do keep an eye on it. We have this big screen in front of us and it's on the screen so we can see it coming through. You're all amazing human beings. We will be back next Sunday to review both of the games. I suspect we're going to primarily focus on the league game because it makes kind of sense. Unless we have a terrible league game and an incredible cup game, then we might change our minds. But we will be back next Sunday at 8 p.m. In fact, we're live every Sunday at 8 p.m. with a podcast. If you're listening on demand or on Spotify, iTunes, you can come and join us live at 8 p.m. on YouTube at the Saints Network. I think it covers it all. I think we're done. We done?
Get in the Discord, people, if you're not.
Get in Discord. Do that. He wants to get to 100 people in Discord.
We're not far away.
96?
96, maybe.
95? Something like that.
Yeah,
so
something like that.
Get Discord. Anything? Time for your rousing cry, Ash. Anything you'd like to say before we disappear?
Up the Saints. Well, it was just...
Okay.
It was a bit dull, wasn't it? So I don't need to do that rousing chat.
His heart's not in it. His heart's not in it.
I'll leave my rousingness for when they eventually give 30 members and I'll be the rousing one that does the introduction.
Thank you so much for watching, you wonderful human beings. Hopefully we'll see you in the next week. If not, see you in the next week. Hopefully we'll see you next week. If not, we'll see you in the next one.